Welcome to Warehouse Women, a podcast where we talk about commercial real estate, building businesses, and passive income, but most importantly, turning barriers into strengths. You know, there's a saying, you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. And I've been thinking about that a lot this year and trying to connect with people that have the same goals as I do and are striving towards the same things. And it is surprisingly difficult, especially as a woman in business, to find that type of person. And especially when you are looking for other women to hang out with, it can be hard to find. I'm not saying you guys aren't out there, and if you are listening, hit me up. But it's not the easiest thing to find, especially not only when you're looking for women who are aspiring to the same thing as you, but also have the same values that you do. I think that is the biggest driver of connection in society today, is just that common values. Now, you can have different perspectives and different thoughts and opinions, and that's enriching, but having that core value connection is integral to most relationships. And I got really lucky the other day. I reconnected with an old friend, and it turns out she's a badass and she's building her own business, and we both read books on theology for fun in our free time, and we both love martial arts, and it is just crazy how you can find the right people in your life at the right time. So I was so excited to find her, and I had another business friend that I really am grateful to have in my life. And I was like, what if the 3 of us got together and did our annual planning for 2024? Now, I was nervous about this because I know that they are both awesome individuals and have a really packed schedule. But we ended up getting together for almost 3 hours and figuring out our plan for 2024. We encouraged each other. We identified areas of improvement. We strategized for each other's businesses. We strategized for each other's personal growth. It was amazing. And I know that there are a lot of people, really great people, leading these sessions. I think Keisha from Empower Her has one coming up, and a few other people who are awesome, and they lead larger groups of people through this exercise. Right now, I don't have that, so all I can do is share with you what we did together, and hopefully you find some value in that and can use it to add to your portfolio or folder of how you plan on figuring out your plan for the next year. Am I the only one who does that, figuring out my plan to figure out my plan? Just a side note. Okay, let's get into it. So after chit-chatting a bit about each other's businesses and lives and getting to know one another, because this was the first time the 2 of them had met, we jumped into figuring out what it is that we want to cover together. We threw around a lot of great ideas, talked about the different planners and journals that we have used throughout the years, what's been good and bad, what we've done in the past to get ready for the new year. And this is kind of what we came up with as our game plan for our planning session. First, one of them brought up a great point that you can't move forward until you know where you've been. So we decided to do a 2023 year in review. Then the wheel of life, which is everywhere. Most annual planners or quarterly planners have this piece in them. You can just Google it and you'll find it. And it has things like health, relationships, business and career, personal development, finances, fun, environment, spiritual, family and friends, all in a wheel. And it gives you a number for you to fill out in the wheel. So you can fill out the different spokes and kind of see how balanced or unbalanced your wheel is. So that was the next activity that we were going to work on, is the wheel of life, both where we are now, where we want to go, and a specific goal within that to help us get there. I'll go into more detail in a minute. But we had 2023 year in review, the wheel of life. What is the definition of personal success to you? The word or song of the year, and then 2024 year in review. So let me break this down. We started with our year in review. We listed both our personal accomplishments through the year and our business wins. It also helped us identify themes or highlight areas where we were spending a lot of time. This brought up an interesting point about work-life balance. And in the book, The One Thing, it has this concept of work-life balance is a fallacy. It's not true. It's not attainable. Giving the same amount of energy to every aspect of life is not necessarily practical at all points in your life. But there is a solution. There is work-life counterbalancing, which allows you to prioritize what is the focus of this season, put all your energy towards it to drive that area of your life forward, knowing that you can come back and bring the rest of your circle with you. So it wouldn't necessarily be everything progressing together at the same pace, but maybe there's a season in your life where your family and your friends are really important and you want to dedicate more time to that. But that means either your physical fitness or your work gets a little bit left behind. That's okay, because that's the season of life that you're in right now. Now, it might be the opposite. It might be that you're really making a push forward on your career or your business. And that means that other aspects of your life get a little bit neglected. As long as they're not glass balls and they're rubber balls, meaning they will bounce back. Even if you neglect them for a season, you will be able to go back, pick it up, and push it forward. That is okay. Life will continue to go on, and prioritization is part of life. You have to choose what you give your energy to. So by doing our 2023 year in review, we were able to see what we gave our energy to in the last year, what we were happy with, and what we would like to put our energy into for the next year. And to break that down even further, we jumped into the Wheel of Life. So for the Wheel of Life, it had those different categories, and we rated ourselves where we are and where we want to be. Now, one of my friends also brought up a really good point. These numbers are arbitrary unless you assign a benchmark to them. So she defined what a 5 meant for her. She defined what a 2 meant. She defined what a 7 meant for her. And based on those definitions for each category, for health, for romantic relationships, for business, for personal development, based on those definitions, she was then able to figure out where she was and where she wanted to go and what that truly meant. I thought that was amazing. And then we got into, in the categories that we want to make improvement, what are goals that we can set for ourselves that we can put into place to strive for? So for example, one of my biggest areas of improvement in my Wheel of Life is my health. Specifically, how do I work on my energy? And why is that important to me? So for me, why it's important for me to work on my energy is so that I can truly enjoy life and I don't have to worry about ailment or sickness prematurely. I don't want to be 40 and have a heart attack. So I want to work on my energy so that I can live an active and fulfilling life, but also so I don't have a heart attack and die at 40. So how am I going to accomplish this? Micro goals. So a few things that we brainstormed was 120 grams of protein daily movement, sleeping by 11, any one self-care thing, and weekly cuts on Sunday. Now, I'm not talking about any meal planning or anything. Weekly cuts means on Sunday reviewing my calendar of what I did the week prior and cutting out what did not give me energy. So energy cuts, funny enough, is one thing that I think that will help me work on my energy and improve my health. And that is just one segment. So we did this for all of the categories. And then we moved on to defining personal success for ourselves. A lot of people think that your business revenue is the definition of success. And it's also easy to forget that most business books were written with finance as the focus. And what's important to remember is you're building this business for your life. You're not building your life for this business. So look at the life that you want to live. What is your definition of success, of happiness, and how can your business help support you in achieving that? That is the question that everyone should answer, whether it's your business or your career. What is success and happiness to you, and how can the different areas of your life help you achieve that? Not just your business, but how can you build your spiritual life? How can your friends and family support you? How can you take on personal development in a way that specifically supports your definition of success and happiness? Next, we started talking about our word of the year, our affirmation, our motivator, and we came across an interesting thought. Instead of having a word of the year, one of us has a song of the year, and it is the most amazing thing because songs you can put on replay in the background. Songs you can put on replay in your car. Songs are a great way to actually motivate you and remind you of what you're achieving and what you're striving for. So when you tie a song in to your drive, it can be a very powerful thing. A word or a phrase is also powerful, especially if you can repeat it to yourself. It's a very quick 2-second thing you can do to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. You can put it on a vision board. So there's a lot of benefits to a word as well. And it helps focus and cut you down to, it's like a core value. It helps you filter your options and decisions through that word. Will it help me do what I want to this year? Will this opportunity help me do what I want to? How can I make a decision that is in line with what my intention for the year is? And finally, the last thing we did was our 2024 year in review. With this, it's a year in review instead of a planning, because it's a way of manifesting. So in the 2024 year in review, we manifested not only our goals, but specific questions. Who do I want to be? Do you want to be reliable? Do you want to be consistent? Do you want to be known as the type of person who is mentally tough? Do you want to be known as a builder? Who is it that you want to be? What is that identity that you want to reinforce in yourself, you probably already have a piece of that, but you want to be more of that. You want that to be an identifier for you. That is where you want to grow. So who is that you want to be, and how can you become that person? So identity and habits have an interesting correlation. You can find more details about this in Atomic Habits, but the correlation is that your actions derive from your identity, and you build your identity through small actions. So as you can see, it's a chicken and egg scenario, but essentially it starts with mental affirmations and mental changes to define yourself as the person you want to be. You want to be an athlete? Tell yourself you are an athlete. Tell yourself you are mentally strong. Tell yourself you enjoy physical challenges. You want to be healthy? Ask yourself, what would a healthy person do? And then do those actions. So it starts mentally as to figuring out who you are, identifying as that person, and then asking yourself, what would that type of person do? So anytime that there's a small decision in front of you throughout the day, what would an athlete do? What would a mentally strong person do? What would a builder do? And figuring out those small wins in your day that reinforce your identity that you've already ascribed to yourself. And then figuring out what are your systems, not what are your goals, but what are the systems that you want to put in place to reinforce that new identity that will then lead you to achieving your goals in the long run. It starts with your intention, then it goes to the process, then the outcomes. So your identity is what starts it. And once you have that identity, you're building those small wins or that process, and the outcome will come at the end. So figuring out what are the systems for 2024 that will set me up for success to achieve the goals I want to achieve and to be who I want to be. And we did that in a manifestation form by doing it as a 2024 year in review instead of a 2024 annual planning or goal setting document. And it's a simple one pager that I can just print out and stick above my computer. And I really hope that you were able to take something useful out of this session and apply it to the plan of your annual planning. All the best, and I will see you next year. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, and I'll see you next week.